in my voice if I was stressed. I promise you
I'm
that.
sure it's fine.
I know. Hey,
What?
there
What?
it is. It's
What?
the Tara Show here. And it's happening. What is going on with YouTube? There it is. It's the Tara Show. Oh, we're so excited. It's a good one. Oh, yeah. What's up, Devlin?
What's up, kid? What's happening in the
Yeah.
chat room? I mean, a lot of things are happening.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for being here and managing the stuff. It is July 24th because this is the longest July in recorded history. It's been July for like 7 years, hasn't it?
No, well, I've been I've been thinking
like it.
today. I was thinking, how are we going to make it another 3.5 years? That's what was on my mind earlier. I'm like, oh my God, three and a half more years. What do you mean?
Well, so first of all, someone's veins are going to give out long before 3 years.
Oh, well, either way.
Right?
I mean, 3.5 years of this
happening.
maggot,
So-
monstrosity that.
You know what? And we'll talk about this, and we'll get into the weeds of it literally, because the amazing Rachel Bitecofer is going to be joining us shortly. But I'm again going to go with the naive optimism that the Epstein files are going to be released, and everyone's going to find out what Trump has been covering up since May, but even before then, because he knew it was all over the Epstein files before May. That couldn't have been a surprise to him. I want to believe that this scandal is going to rain so much shit upon the entire Republican Party that it's going to come with a ritual cleansing of some sort, because they're all complicit. Vance flew to Montana to talk to Murdoch about how things were going to get rolled out, perhaps. We don't know, but it sounds to me like Peter PayPal Thiel was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't have a pedophile there where we're going to try to put you. Let's get rid of him. He's tired of waiting to run the country.
There's a call happening. Hold on a second. We have a call. Hold on, Rachel. You're in the green room
now.
Wow. Hold on. I got buttons to push.
I got
buttons. 1 second. Everybody, you could keep talking, Dublin.
I'm just saying, as we begin to welcome in Rachel Bitecofer, everyone's talking about all of the same stuff, no matter what the Republicans want to be talking about. And what everyone's talking about is the release
Rachel!
of the There she is. There she is.
How are you guys doing?
Welcome.
You are. You're in the middle of the TNT dynamite, Rachel. Thank you so much for being here.
What happened? That's her camera. Here we go.
There she is.
You better.
You better. Incoming phone call there. I didn't realize.
Do you sleep like ever? Because I think you and Heather Cox Richardson should just get a house together where you have nothing but blackout shades and white noise apps, so you can get some sleep. Because I feel like the two of you are pulling 24-hour dirty.
Yeah.
Hold on. How's your mic, Rachel? You're here. You're sounding a little.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back in on my laptop. I didn't realize you. I thought it was just a audio link. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's video
Are
too.
You
Yeah, we're live. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Let
This
them
is
say
how
how
it
the
is.
sausage is made. We're totally fine with it.
All right, call back in. You're fine.
I did Grateful Dead tour. I can handle that. Okay. Let me try this.
We got nothing to hide here on the Tara Show.
This is how you do it, you know.
Whatever.
We don't have billionaire benefactors.
I'm with you.
Plus, we get to see all of.
Yeah, just hang up. I'm gonna hang up. Yeah, hang up, and then call back. All right, bye.
Okay. Anyway,
Sounds good.
She'll be back momentarily. But anyway, what I love about right now in this moment is Republicans have literally nowhere to hide. And that's one of the things that we want to talk to Rachel about, because now is the opportunity for Democrats to capitalize and strategize on every ounce of Trump failure. So, and I'm sure Rachel will agree.
One sec, Rach.
Back up and rolling.
Yeah.
Rolling.
All right. Then I gotta
rolling.
assign it to there. We
TNT
go. Better.
rolling.
Yay.
How you doing? All right, sounds much better.
Hey, there she is.
Wonderful.
All right now.
Thank you.
Okay, Doc.
All right.
The Doc is in. and she's ready to deliver some real medicine to the Democrats. And this is so perfect that you're joining us this week, Rachel, because on Tuesday on the Tara Show, just before more Epstein mishigas broke, we were talking about how the Democrats need to fight better and how the messaging, it's okay to take some gloves off when we're talking about what's inside the Epstein files, and that we need to call it what it is and use the real words and say the real things. And then I go to your Substack and it's you saying that, but like way more eloquently, because it's what you do, this is where you live.
More better, as I would say, yeah.
Oh, better.
This Substack, and then I want you to like expand on this, because this is like the essence of what we do, which is the truth, delivering the truth, regardless of who it's about or where it comes from. And you're saying the first rule is you seize the frame or you lose the narrative. Republicans are already 20 tweets deep blaming Democrat policies before you even finish reading the news alert. They don't care if the accusation is coherent, much less accurate. The goal is to own the frame, and once they've said it, the public doesn't forget it. Democrats, by contrast, default to vague condolences and thoughts about healing. No, you don't beat fascism with empathy statements. You beat it with clarity, repetition, and fire. Fuck yes.
Hello.
Fuck yes.
Can we get it?
Help. Lead it. Tell it. Lead us now. You go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad you're highlighting that piece. I want to push people to the Substack. I actually feel like I am Heather Cox Richardson right now, because I've really amped up the written content this year, and I've been pulling out like strategic analyses all summer. But this one that you're quoting from is the first of a series that I'm working on about why it is. I mean, I've been working in this space for 5 years. The conversations that I saw people have online after 2024's loss, they were the same things that started me on this journey in 2020, right? And it's like, you know, nothing has ever changed. It felt like Groundhog Day, right? And so, you know, now that I've written a book and I've gotten, you know, I do a lot of traveling around the country. It's mostly the state Democratic Party committee stuff, teaching Democrats this concept, right? And what I learned once I got on the stump with that was like how it's just really like I'm really trying to get cats to walk on a leash, right? It can be done. Not without some behavior, yes. Like, you know, the cat's going to have to make some, you know, some cooperation in the act, right?
Yeah.
And so the second piece I put out yesterday, and that's about how we are, as liberal progressive people, like wired very, very wrong to match their comms asymmetry. So that's like the structural shit that they've built is really important. Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, and then on the digital space, right? And we can see, like with this Mehdi Hasan interviews this week, with the fascist in, we can see what the effect of propaganda is on the young brain. I mean, these kids are all like 20, 21, right? And they're telling a naturalized American citizen to get out of the country on live TV.
All of them. And they're applauding fascism. When the guy says, I'm a fascist, they're like,
yay!
Right. It's crazy.
So, you know, so that kind of structural advantage is obviously something that Democrats need to deal with, right? But the bigger problem is not structural, it's behavioral. And it comes down to the fact that most Democratic people, especially people who are politically engaged, aren't willing to look stupid and say things that, like, to make a good statement on Social Security, I tell people Republicans are going to steal your retirement money. Okay. And almost always I get some know-it-all liberal in my comments, right? Well, you know, that's not how, it's not actually your money. That's not how.
Social Security
works.
Right.
And like, you have to be able to just not care if you look dumb. Okay. I have a PhD. I know I'm smart. I don't need affirmation from the internet on it. Okay.
Right.
But, you know, you have to be willing to say shit that's hyperbolic and superlative. And those things are inherently anti-intellectual. Okay. So that's a problem, right? We are intellectuals. We respond to collective good. So when we watch a Latino get rounded up, even though we're not Latinos, we feel pain for that person.
Right. Yeah. Great.
That's wonderful for us. But guess what? 80% of humans aren't wired that way at all. They don't give two shits. And some of them actually love it. Right. Yeah. So, like, you know, we can't make progress until we get it can't just be in the influencer space. I mean, as much as we build that out and try to bring it in the way Republicans did, that stuff's all great, and that's stuff that we need to be doing for sure. But at the end of the day, we need to have the electeds and the swing race candidates pounding the message. And if they are unwilling to do that, we'll never have hopes of catching up to their comms apparatus, because what makes that thing so effective is the way it's legitimized by sitting members of Congress, sitting senators, House GOP Judiciary Committee, the Republican GOP Twitter handle. They are all pounding whatever the daily talking point is, right? And so like having that happen in an influencer creator space is great. It's a big part of it. And if we could centralize our creator space and get it pounding on Republicans and not bitching about internal Democratic stuff, we'd be in a better spot, right?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, unless electeds are willing to be mean like Republicans are in their accounts, we have a huge comms asymmetry. And I'm still working on that. I wasn't able to affect the swing map strategy in 2024. They ran traditional Democratic, hey, I've got a great biography, I'm an incumbent, I've done all this stuff for you. I'm not one of those Democrats, right?
Right.
And running against your own brand, independents smell weakness, right? Like what the people want right now, partisan Democrats and independents, is strength.
Yes.
They're looking at what's happening.
You're singing my song.
Want to say, I'm coming to make it better, right? Like they need a fucking general. And I point out in this piece, like we're the only people who've ever gone to war without a general. Okay, we have no war cabinet. We have no brain trust. There's no leadership, because we as Democrats have spent 3 decades breaking hierarchy and centralization, right? Because we wanted to be egalitarian, and we even have quotas, right? It's crazy. You can't run a business with a committee, dude.
Right.
There used to be one person in charge, and that one person has to be willing to be an asshole, right? Like, and tell other people, yes, I realize you've got your own bumper sticker slogan that you like better. We're using this one, and everyone's using it, right?
Wow.
So, like, everyone wants to, do their own thing, and it's frustrating, because I need people to understand, like, at the end of the day, nothing is going to change if we don't change our own behavior and start behaving in a way that is, conducive to getting through a narrative machine like they have.
Yes. And Rachel, thank you for all of that, because I've been saying this forever. And you have the expertise and the knowledge, so I bow to whatever you say here, because I've always said that the two problems are money in politics and the corporate media that are giving these people that have siloed our information, and we saw it play out in the Mehdi Hassan interview. And the fact that the Democrats, like you were saying, don't support small independent media voices like this, like Political Voices Network. You see it on the right. They pick Diamond and Silk out of this nowhere YouTube channel, and next thing you know, they're on Fox News. They're in the White House. This is what they do, and it's an echo chamber that wherever a person goes, they will encounter that message, and that's what we don't have here. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is because I'm not trying to bash the Democratic Party, but they are also serving two masters. They're not, they're serving Wall Street and Main Street, whereas the Republicans don't seem to really have that problem. They lie right to, Main Street's face and serve Wall Street every day, all day. So I just think that it's because, the Democratic Party they also want that Wall Street money. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you're wrong. I mean, I guess I feel
all right, good night.
I feel you, right? Like, I feel you. I feel it, like, oh, man, that's just so tough, right? So, like, yes, I mean, here's the thing, guys. Progressives make up about 15% of America, okay? Even when you open that category to liberal, you get about 24% of America. And that's not even all voters, okay? So maybe half of them will even vote, right?
Right.
And, it is, what in our two-party system, almost inevitable that because all of these, like in your European system, you guys probably wouldn't be Democrats, okay? Right?
No.
You would be something else, right?
Yeah.
But the Democratic Party and the Republican parties, they have to capture all these coalitions that in a parliamentary system would have their own reps and their own thing based on proportional representation, right? And that's just the unfortunate reality of the two-party American system, right? But, when you look at the record on mainstream, I mean, who passed the Dodd-Frank Act, right? It was the Democrats, right? So I push back a lot on this idea that they're just, it's the corporate line, right? So, when you're running a candidate in a swing race, like, the Democrats are right and wrong. They're right that you need a candidate that isn't on record, with unpopular positions. And frankly, the Democratic base is not always with the median voter, right? Sometimes they are, and there's issues that we should be, those are the issues we should be really wedging. But when you look at something like the sports ban, I mean, it's 85% of America wants biological men not to compete against biological women in sports, right? And when you look at Democrats, it's like, 60% of Democrats want this thing that's so deeply unpopular. And Republicans are experts at exploiting that one thing that we have. They're going to do that no matter what, which is why when we talk about our strategy, it needs to be equally exploitative. And that's why that first piece in the series is called Politicize Everything, right? But like the more that we sit here and hand wring about, I mean, here's the fact, like we could have gotten rid of Citizens United. It would be dead right now. So would partisan gerrymandering. And by the way, Republicans right now are planning mid-decade redistricting in every red state they can. And they plan to eke out 22 or 25 new House seats in states that are already gerrymandered so bad, like Texas has 40% of the population is Democrat, and they have 3% of the House seats or something crazy like that, right? But they're going to do it even worse. I mean, these people are not fucking around, and the more that we're focused on ourselves, I mean, it's just it seems so out of for me. I guess it's frustrating because I've been focused on the fact that this Trump administration would come in and do fascism, right? And then we come out into the administration, that's exactly what they're doing, headline every day. But yet what's the liberal base talking about? Abundance versus populism. It's like, hello, motherfuckers, the house is on fire, right? Why are we talking about abundance and populism right now, folks? We really need full attention focused on the problem. The problem is the Republican Party. The reason we didn't get climate change legislation isn't because Democrats love corporations. It's because the Republican Party knew that cap and trade was going to pass in 2008 when Nancy Pelosi and Newt Gingrich sat down together and did a PSA and looked at each other and said, we don't agree on everything.
I know. Oh, God,
yes.
I remember.
We know climate change is a big problem. Well, what happened is the Republicans paid the tobacco lobbyists to come in and create the hoax. And that's where you start to see the public believe that climate change is a hoax. And they did that because if you accept the science on climate change, then there's a moral imperative to act, right? But if you can bring the science into doubt, then that erases the need to act. And now what we're looking at is we're getting ready to see the Clean Air Act eviscerated, folks. Okay, eviscerated, right? And
it makes sense. Why don't they want clean air? That's just dumb.
Well,
and some of it comes from being in power, like you interfocus when it's a Biden administration calling the EPA. But folks, we are not in power, and we are not in a normal circumstance. Like when I say Gavin Newsom is the man for this moment, I'm not talking about a 2028 presidential race, folks. I'm talking about right now, this moment where our constitutional republic is being collapsed. And so I would just urge Democrats, it's easy to get caught up in intra-party crap, but every moment, every day, every conversation that you're having about something like that is a moment of a day, a conversation that you're not focused on making sure that everyone hates the shit Republicans do, but they don't associate with them. I've been doing a tour with data that came from David Shore and Blue Rose Research, and he didn't talk about the data in this way, but I did, and I wrote about it on the cycle if people want to go look at it. And what it showed was a graph that indicated how important each issue was to the electorate, and then also whether they were more likely to say that's an issue that's good for Republicans or Democrats, okay? And that data was a really stunning reveal because it revealed two things. Number one, when voters are asked, hey, which party is better on Social Security, Medicare, healthcare, education, or many other issues that are our issues, they're just as likely to say the Republican Party is good on it, okay? I mean, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing that they do know about Democrats that was clearly, I mean, it was almost off the chart, 90-10, when you ask people who's for LGBT gay rights, they know it's us, okay? So that brand is solid, it's established, right? But they don't know anything else about us. There's literally nothing else that's up on that top.
But isn't that because of the media, though, and the way, and our information app, that we have corporate media and everyone is going to their own camp to get their news and whatnot, right? I mean, isn't that why?
If you read my book, Hit 'em Where It Hurts, you're going to find out that actually, no, that's not why.
Okay, tell me. Because I talk about this all the time. Say again, sorry, Rachel.
The bigger problem is that most people don't watch any news, okay? So it's not just that they're getting it from a corporate source. And here's the thing with corporate media. When I started my teaching career, I used to teach students about media consolidation, corporate ownership, and bias and stuff, right? And it was a very, the class, you don't have all day to teach the media section, so it was very critical about those things. By the time I left, 3 years into Donald Trump's reign of terror, 4 years, I was having to teach my entire media section about how, corporate or so-called mainstream media is the only media that has regulations in terms of what they can publish, how it gets published, what gets put in there. Even when I write a New York Times op-ed, they fact check my op-ed and it's an opinion piece, right? As much as I appreciate independent media, being an independent media person myself, I'm certainly not trying to discourage people from independent media, but what people should realize is the media, mainstream media, especially TV news or big papers, they are only as sick. They're sick because we're sick, okay? Like, you can't fix the media without fixing the people. And here's the thing. Most people are not watching the news. When you look at a ratings for like the Sunday show, right, it might sound big, 5 million people. Okay, well, do the math, man. Just take the adults, don't even do the children, and divide it by 200 million. And guess what you find out? Like 2% of America watches a Sunday show.
Yes.
Think about it. Right. Okay? 2% of America. We can't even conceptualize that most people don't know who their senators are.
Yeah,
okay? It hurts us to admit this. Like, I'm not calling people dumb. I'm talking about you can be a very smart person. And we saw this in that foundation study of non-voters. Non-voters are non-voters because they don't give a fuck, not because it's hard to vote. And they told pollsters. Right?
Well, that's part of the negativity, people seem to separate themselves from politics, say, as if it's some moral high ground because everything sucks and they all suck and they're all liars, and for the people who don't watch the media or consume news, I would think there's also a level of social contagion involved too with your friends. You want to be, you want to be part of the group. You don't want to be a contrarian, or you want to be accepted into, especially when it comes to, the MAGA cult. There's a level of community there that people are getting from that, and that's why I think that even though people aren't watching news, they're getting influenced by those who are. Because where are they coming up with this stuff? They're not pulling it
Right. That's something that we've talked about extensively on this show, and every opportunity I've had to bring this up, I do, Rachel, and I'd love to get specifically your take on this because it's all about the truth and information. I have been advocating from the start of this, blight on humanity this time around for a Democratic press secretary, not a member of Congress, not someone who's contemplating a future political run, but someone who serves every single day as the official person who stands in front of the media. After Caroline lies to them at the White House, there's a Democratic press conference from the Capitol, where it is someone's job. I like a Jessica Tarlov who already has experience in cutting through the Fox News-esque bullshit and saying, this is what happened today. This is the Democratic message today. You know, today the DNC released a new logo for the GOP, and it's the pedophile protectors.
Oh,
That's
good.
Who they are.
I like that.
That's the kind of fight, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of fighting we need to see. And I want
to right there.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're listening.
So,
right? For real.
So, I mean, but here's the thing: is like people don't understand that the DNC is got one. It's not. We think of the DNC as running the campaigns and the campaign strategy, and that's one of the things I talk about in the book. Is like. We would be in a world better if that was true, but unfortunately, no, it's not true. Not only do we have the DSCC, the DCC, and the DGA running those things, and then DLCC does state legislative. They're all separate bureaucracies, okay?
Right.
Not only do we have that problem, but then when you get, especially into the swing map at any level, then you have each campaign doing its own thing. And a lot of it based on the advice of the consultants that have put us here, that ignore the lessons of this book and refuse to platform it because they know that I'm going to undercut their bottom line, right? With a lot of the shit that we're wasting money on, right? Like we're wasting money on stuff we don't need to spend $20 million to find out why men don't like us. They don't like us because we're weak and woke, okay? Like nobody wants to be nagged at. Nobody wants to be nagged at. And like folks, you know, I have to tell you, if you have gender pronouns in your bio, you are just not, you're super engaged in something that most people know nothing about, which is politics, okay? And it's very niche-y, right? Like it looks weird to other people. Like it's weird to other people, right? Like some of the stuff this clapping thing, right?
Oh, I hear you. That annoys me too. I was in Occupy Wall Street and all that whole other thing. There's a whole bunch of things that irritate the fuck out of me, but yes, you know.
What irritates the fuck out of me is that MAGA's messaging always gets to be louder than ours, regardless of how great Joe Biden's economy was. Nobody knew about it.
That's a case in point.
That we lifted up all other global economies after he lifted us out of a pandemic depression that was created by Trump. And that no one talks about how Kamala Harris, you know, she was backed by 23 Nobel Prize winning economists who wrote a letter saying her economic plan was far superior and Donald Trump's tariff plan would put us into a recession. That's why I think we need the Democratic press secretary, because there needs to be this one person who shows up every day in front of the press and says, here's this, and here's today, and here's this and that now. And I have been asking, and I have tagged everybody that I met at the DNC. I have tagged Ken Martin repeatedly. I didn't meet him, but I met Malcolm Kenyatta, and I met all of these people at the DNC, and I have floated this, and I said it to Joe Walsh when we had him on here, and he said yes, and I was on Sherry Jacobus's podcast last week, and she's also advocating for a Democratic press secretary. How do we get this brilliant idea to someone who can actually make it become a real thing, so that I'm not continuing to talk about it here, and it's just that I don't need the full credit, just make it happen. Because someone needs to be out there, and it's not Cory Booker, and it's not Chuck Schumer, but it is somebody who does it every day, right? But someone who's separate from the congressional body, who is independent, a Karine Jean-Pierre, a Jen Psaki, a Rachel Bitecofer. I'm just saying, like, those who performed a job like that.
No, you're right. You're right.
You be the Democratic press secretary. You.
And sharp. I'm not. I mean, you got to take me out, right? Because I'm not hot and I'm not young. Okay.
You don't have to be hot. You have to be telling the truth. That's all you have to be doing is telling the truth.
It's true. And so, like, listen. Like, here's the thing with the DNC. Like, it's got the right people in place. Ken Martin, Malcolm Kenyatta. Like, they know what to do. And in many ways that either you guys haven't noticed. You know, I don't know if you saw the article about the war room and all of that. But like, they're doing some of this stuff now. Okay. With the press secretary thing and other stuff that they want to do, guess what they need? Money. Okay. Right. And guess what? But no one wants to give the DNC money because everyone shits on the DNC.
Right. Oh, I get it now. Okay.
Rating, right? So like the more that we bitch about the DNC, the less money they can raise, the less they can do. And right now they have the ideas and the will, but they have no money, right? So like it's, if you guys want to help, make a donation to the Democratic National Committee because you can't have to do shit that don't money for, right?
No, you're right. You're 100% right. This is what because I'm a big animal rights activist too, and people hate no-kill shelters, and I always say, if you don't like no-kill shelters, then go volunteer at a shelter. This is why. I mean, if you don't like kill shelters, I should say, that's why they exist. Because people aren't giving money and they're not volunteering and whatnot. So, but I mean, you're really blowing my mind.
Just doubled up in fundraising, guys. Okay.
Right. That's the other thing.
Going on, right? Like and now they're going to do these redistrictings, and we are such a bunch of do-gooders, and this was really frustrating. And I know Neera Tanden just tweeted about this today too. But back in the days when like all the Democratic blue states started pursuing fair maps, right? And I'm like, dude, don't do this. Like they are gerrymandering the hell out of Georgia. And you want to take Virginia and
you want to tie your hand behind your back. And that's the other thing. Yeah, like why? And is it just a matter of money? For example, what they're doing in Texas with the redistricting, I wrote an article about it for the Political Voices Substack, but then California said, go for it, we'll do the same, which is relief. It gives you a sense of relief. But other blue states have to do the same. But the Republicans also engage in that voter caging tactic, which was illegal for forever and ever and ever. And I heard someone, I think it was Tom Hartman, ask one of the Democrats, what's wrong with Democrats? Why don't we engage in the voter caging tactic, which is you send for people that don't know, you send a postcard to Republican leading constituencies or demographics. And if they don't return the postcard, you kick them off the voter rolls because it means they're not at that address. And the Republicans have been doing that to Democrats for years when it was illegal, and now it has been made legal by the Supreme Court. And why not? Why aren't the Democrats doing this? And Tom Hartman asked a Democrat, I don't remember who it was, and he says, well, we don't want to, get into that kind of tit for tat, the same thing of the moral high ground bullshit. Yes. And it's like, I want to bang my head against a wall. Well, it's completely legal, so do it.
They couldn't even control the House right now without those gerrymanders, okay?
Right,
so think about that, right? The gerrymanders that exist now, they have an artificial House majority. Why that's a huge problem for just overall democracy is that the Senate was designed to be unequal in representation. It gives much more weight to small population states than big population states. But the House was supposed to make up for that and reflect the majority view. Well, because of partisan gerrymandering, and because while they were gerrymandering the fuck out of Texas, we're passing fair map rules in New York, right?
Right.
And like the answer, you ask me why, and I'm going to tell you guys why, because I know you have a very progressive audience. The reason is because progressives howl when you want to do shit like this. I mean, like Ken Martin and us are pushing for Texas to, Texas Dems to walk out. I see the comments. Oh, we can't engage in this. This is a big mistake. I mean, we're supposed to want everyone to vote.
God.
And you have to be willing. Like I said, we need a general, because I'm willing to say I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care if you're mad at me, progressive world. I'm winning shit. Like, that's all that matters to me is winning shit, and winning shit. And what I'm going to do to win shit is I'm going to maximize the probability of winning shit with a strategy that does that. I'm not going to be trying to do 10 things at once. Make sure I don't insult anybody. Make sure I have union printing. Make sure I say pregnant people in an ad. Right? Like, just because 2 women in America that are men that can have babies, doesn't mean do that. Like, it's like, oh Lord, and we have really confused where representation is valuable. Representation is valuable with power. And especially when you're up against a fascist movement, it's the only thing that matters, right? Shit. And yet there is this chunk of the Democratic establishment that is what Tara just described, this I don't want to engage in, we shouldn't be getting in. I mean, it's like, do these people watch news, right? Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like this abundance populism debate. Like,
it's incredible.
Hello, folks, they're talking about arresting Barack Obama.
Yeah, I mean, what the fuck? Like, hello.
And firing Stephen Colbert for having the audacity to tell the truth.
I mean, come on, get your head out of your ass. Like,
wow.
You know what
it's crazy. It's crazy. And so I feel like Democrats have been given a gift on a silver platter with this Epstein thing. And they could really
piece about that right now. It's going to come out in about an hour. Yep.
Awesome. And which will want everybody to sign up for your Substack, all of our Substacks, get our books, and support us on all of the socials, because this is where the truth is coming from. If you could make the Democrats talk about this Epstein files, Michigas, in the right way, how do you want them framing it? How do you want them getting the attention and keeping it at the top of the news cycle in the right way, and not letting the MAGA people move the goalposts in any way, try to blame it on Democrats, try to do this, try to do that? It's so far we're seeing some Republicans step up with some accountability, but an overwhelming number of them are still protecting him. So how do you want Democrats to be? This is a strong thing that we need to be very, very vocal and pushy about. I want to know how you think Democrats need to handle this going forward.
Yeah, and this piece, what it's designed to do is to push back. I saw a very smart Democratic strategist on TV last night. Well, yeah, I mean, Epstein's a big deal, but that's not really at the top of mind of voters.
Oh, fuck
I mean,
that.
I'm just going to go through the TV and strangle people, right? I'm like, no, it's not a distraction. It is at the core of MAGA ideology, this thing. And where and how to talk about it, Sarah, it's as betrayal. Okay, the frame is betrayal. Right? Like, this man has betrayed your trust, right? And the more of the stuff that's coming out, there's smoking gun evidence, right? I mean, like this letter that came into the Wall Street Journal, it is part of a book of letters to Epstein for his birthday that his co-conspirator
Ghislaine Maxwell,
Ghislaine Maxwell, she bound it together and has letters from other people in it. Like it's 100% real, right? I mean,
it's a thing,
right? Published it otherwise, right? Because again, they're a mainstream news outlet, so they have to go through editorial vetting, sourcing, and then they're subject to having punishment if they publish something that's wrong. That's something that we don't have in independent media, which is one of the reasons it's able to be independent, but it's also means on the right especially that I could come out if I wanted to. I could come out and be a rich right-wing grifter, right?
Oh yeah.
And I could literally say anything I wanted to say on a show every day. None of it true. None of it has evidence. All of it Steve Bannon or Glenn Beck conspiracy shit, right? And there's no
and you'd be Lindy Lee.
That's where the money.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So it's really important for people to understand mainstream media, especially like news, TV style news. It's serving. We are not civically cultured to be politically engaged. Tara, you talked about, and I mentioned this in the book, about how there's people who are embarrassed to admit they skipped their Peloton, but like when you ask them if they vote, not only do they not vote, but they look at you like you're a bug, right? Like you're morally deficient because you do politics, okay? Like that's so the news is really constrained by the audience and the fact that it was switched to a for-profit model after the 70s, okay? And that means that if you're doing a news program, you have to make money, and the way to make money is sensationalism and bullshit, not NPR. Okay, NPR's reporting is extremely dry. It is, if you listen to NPR, you are of like the 3% intellectuals of this country. So congratulations that do so. But like it's not sexy programming, right? And that's so really it is, the media system is what it eats, and it eats us, and it needs to sell to us, and because we don't want to talk about politics. Like lots of people who even say they watch any news, what they mean is like Entertainment Tonight, dude. Or or like the Today Show. If you ever watched Good Morning America, like a lot of people say, I mean, so even when we think about the 30% of people who are consuming media, 15% of them are consuming Fox News. Actually, it's probably more like 20. Okay. And the other 15 is watching the Today Show, right? Like it's not. Maybe sometimes they mention a political news story if it's something major, but most of the content is on celebrities and, cooking and fashion. It's not
Yeah, it's celebrity gossip or whatnot. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we've arrived at this moment for a reason, and the reason is explained in the book. Like in the 50s, political scientists were like, "Ooh, we have surveys. Let's go find out what Americans know," and they did, and they published this in a seminal piece called "The American Voter." And what they found out was that actually Americans don't know jack shit about their government, and they don't care. They don't know anything about state government versus federal government. So for most people, the government in their mind begins and ends with the White House and whoever occupies the White House. And then, the reason the reason that's really bad, and the authors in the 1950s wrote, well, don't worry about, it might seem, friends, concerning that we have a government of the people for the people, and the people are so dumb they don't know anything as to who the president is, right? But they said, don't worry about it, because in American politics we've emerged into this two-party system, and this is the 50s, so the two-party system was fairly new, and now voters don't have to know much, right? They have a little cue that they can use to sort their political universe very clearly, and that's the party label on the ballot, the RSD, right?
That's it.
And they said, so that allows people to make cognitive shortcuts. They don't have to go look up a platform. And they even write in the 50s, wouldn't it be great if we had two parties that were so distinct that voters could easily tell which one that they would align with?
Wow.
And of course, that's exactly what, the 2000s brings us, and it's been a disaster, right?
I feel like it's pretty glaring now, though, because it's like Republicans are the bad guys who want to kill us all, and Democrats are trying to make sure they can't.
Yeah, but
that seems to be where we are right now.
But
and
then,
so,
but the people,
they're not fighting. But people don't see Democrats as fighters. Because it's the they go low, we go high thing. We can't do that anymore, which is the essence of what we're talking about. And it's when we're fighting something that is so egregious, and so the blatancy of the lies that Donald Trump has been telling his base for 10 years is bad enough, and they don't want to believe those. But that he's been bald-faced lying to them since May about the Epstein files, and that Democrats need to appropriately capitalize on this to explain to MAGA voters how little respect they have been shown. Your guy lied to you about this. He lied to you about this, and this, but he really lied to you about this raping the kids thing.
Yep.
Why aren't you more mad about that? Because you should be really mad about this. And you're not going to die if you admit that you were wrong. And today I wake up and I see all of this bullshit like, oh, but Obama. And it's like, what? But Hillary's emails. And again, it's like you can try to move those goalposts, but eventually people are like, wait a minute, those don't belong there. We're supposed to be over here talking about this fuckery. So how do we make sure that it doesn't get away?
Yeah, and that's why this Epstein thing is so important, guys, is because, they are trying to move past it. And here's the thing, you are right. By and large, MAGA, even some of the ones in the first 48 that were wishy-washy have fallen in line. But here's the thing, not all of them, and definitely not the looser coalitional parts of MAGA, especially like the crypto bros, the Joe Rogan part of that coalition has not moved on and says they're not going to move on, right? And so I monitor these people for a living, so I get to kind of see what they're doing every day. And if I had to put a guess at it, this is costing Trump about 15%, but that is a huge percentage when it comes to a general election, especially showing up and bothering to cast a ballot in a midterm, right? So the more that we hit them on Epstein and betrayal, and this idea that he lied about this, what else is he lying about? The better and better and better it is for us. So that's why I want all the electeds talking about Epstein. And of course, if it was the Republican Party, we would have that. We'd have 15, 20, 30 Republicans pounding the TV everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And with us, I don't want to talk about that. It's a distraction. No, it's
a distraction.
Yeah, it's
beyond.
Right?
It's beyond belief. Yeah. Well, there is a way to talk to conservatives.
Everything else is distraction from this,
right? So and especially, and that's why I really do believe that they will pull the trigger and arrest Barack Obama because it's that desperate. They're that in need of a distraction.
They manufacture this
bullshit. It's a complete manufactured. The Russia hoax is not a hoax, as we know. It is real. So go for it. Do it. you
The
know.
Senate Intel Committee was pretty clear, with Marco Rubio
Right.
in it, right? Like, here's the thing, though. Like, for me, okay, let's say they arrest Barack Obama.
Right.
I mean, shouldn't that be like out in the streets, freak out?
Yes.
And I don't think people have it in them. I don't know what the here's
what would
the
happen, right?
Doesn't he have the same immunity that?
So
does Barack Obama have the immunity that SCOTUS gave Trump, though? Doesn't Obama?
Isn't
Obama like
under
in the clear?
Security. Yes, he does. But and I figure when they fail to indict him, that will be the excuse that they use,
right.
There was no evidence, right? But the I can't remember what I was going to say, but anyway.
Yeah, this is their break glass moment. Yeah, because they had to do the Obama thing, because Rosie O'Donnell didn't work. Going after the Washington Commanders wasn't working. The same old shit that he does all the time. All the other distractions weren't working, so they had to up it, So
being told straightforward, Rachel. Pam Bondi told him in May, "You're all over these Epstein files," which means Kash Patel knows he was all over the Epstein files, which is, I'm guessing Elon Musk, that's why he tweeted on June 5th, hey, he's in the Epstein files, because it must have happened towards the end of May. So that's when Elon got proof, and he blew that all up. And so you're like, I understand being in this cult and tolerating a lot of shit because you don't want to admit you were wrong or whatever. You just found out you were absolutely lied to. Why would you stay? I can't understand that. We held Michael Avenatti accountable, and we held John Edwards accountable, and we held Bob Menendez accountable. And if Bill Clinton is found to be doing disgusting things like Donald Trump did, we'll hold him accountable too. I don't think it's that bad, but we'll find out. But again, they have been, like you said, they have been betrayed. They have been lied to, and we can't make them care about that. So what are Democrats doing to make them care about that?
It's wrong that we can't make them care about that. I mean, not Cat Turd, okay? Cat Turd's not going to care about that. Oh, no. But there's a big chunk of his base that
rubles.
Definitely cares about this. And the way that what we have to do is make them keep focusing on it, right? I mean, if we let it stop and we don't talk about it, then they're going to move on. And the first time happens, they'll be like, ooh, shiny object. Yes. I was really mad at Trump, but I can't not support him because of blank, right? That's inevitable, right?
That's how they're going to do it.
The only way to keep this pounding is to pound it by top level influencers and the electeds. I mean, without the electeds willing to get dirty, and they think that it hurts them politically. I say, look at JD Vance and DeSantis. Did they run platforms of bipartisanship and kumbaya shit? No, they ran a campaign that you're a socialist that wants to groom children and turn them into boys, right?
Right.
That's what they're saying about you, right? And that seemed to work for them to win swing voters. And this idea that swing voters have some other standard they're going to assess our shit by is totally wrong. It's anti-psychological. Like this idea that we can't do what they do, it won't work for us. You can't do what they do without hearing an element of the progressive base whine about it. That is true. Okay. But if you just do what I tell you to do, what Rick Wilson and the Lincoln Project would tell you to do, is you just don't give a fuck. Okay. I'm trying.
That's true.
Fascism here, right? Like, I ain't got time for your little feels, right? People are dying. People are rotting in a concentration camp in the swamps of Florida, guys. They're thinking about rounding up Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and shit. Like, I don't got time for your feels right now, right? All I have time to do.
That's what we're talking about. It's like Jon Stewart the other night saying, fucking sack up and push back. And you don't stop talking, and you don't stop holding them accountable, and you don't shut up. Firing Stephen Colbert is only going to make him more powerful. Because first of all, he's the one making CBS the most money at this point, which is ridiculous to fire him. And then to kowtow, like Columbia University bowing to Trump. At this point, when you know that he's guilty of raping and sex trafficking little girls, they should rescind. They should say, no, we're not going to bend a knee. You should not give a fascist $220 million, especially because he's a pedophile. It's calling them out, like you said, but doing it. I think people get exhausted by it because there's not an immediate result. And I don't know if you've seen it, Rachel, just because Twitter is a mess for anybody who's liberal right now. We're all throttled and suppressed. But I have been sharing a video the audio of Katie Johnson's testimony, an excerpt of that's really disturbing. I recorded it over a year ago and have been circulating it ever since. And everyone's like, that's fake. You didn't, that can't be real. And it's real. It's there's her case file. It's her testimony.
Yep.
And I feel like people would be, thank you. And so it's available. Like Pam Bondi couldn't find it, but I found it last year. Weird.
No doubt.
I want to see, do you agree that there is a point where people have just become inured to the phrase Epstein files because they don't really understand what's in it, and that it's up to Democrats to fully expose, to get to share the really gross and dirty details, because it's not just, and that's why I recorded it. Because it is worse when you hear what Trump did to those little girls. And it's also worse when you find out what my Senator Ron Wyden found out about all of the wire transfers between Epstein and Trump and Russian banks, over 1.1 billion just to one bank, financing this international sex trafficking ring. It seems like that should matter to the MAGA kids who are really worried about pedophiles and finding the people who do bad things to kids. I'm just saying. So how do we take something that they allegedly care about and say, hey, we care about it too. You should want the Epstein files released just as much as we do to get, and so then we can all collectively move on as a country. Am I too naive in wanting to make that the message? Like on the betrayal thing, that's all part of it.
The message could be, we are going to find these files and we are going to reveal the truth that Donald Trump wants to hide from you. Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. And I don't give a shit who's on that file.
Yeah, I'm
true. Sorry. Right, that's what we say too. We say that too.
I really don't care. You know what I mean? Like I know that might be controversial to some, but I don't give a shit who's on the file. Let's release the whole file.
You're right.
And let's find out exactly how many times Donald Trump slept with teenage girls. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
The files, right? Like, and as far as these MAGA heroes go, I mean, they all know it. They all know now that they're carrying water for a guy that's in the Epstein files, right?
Yes,
And they saw it with their own two eyes. Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi and all those guys, right? So they're all full of shit. They don't give two craps about children. And, we do. So there's the moral high ground on that. Like, getting this list revealed to the public is a moral clarity issue, and is a great opportunity for Democrats to be like, hey, wait a minute. We're the ones that want to provide this transparency to you, right? And if it's us and they're all against it, what are they hiding? Well, they're hiding Donald Trump being in there, right? And you got, and if you're a digital warrior doing digital grassroots, in the book I talk about how anything you're posting in social media is digital grassroots, and it's basically like doing field work, right? So everything, you can use your account in that way. You can't possibly remind people that Trump's a pedo, these MAGA people, enough. I mean, I go in their comments, I post Trump voted for pedo, you know what I mean? We got to do that.
You and I do it the same way.
Yeah.
We're going to go in there. We're going to stir the
Sarah
shit.
Longwell,
We're going to do that.
Gets this. She keeps RT. What's in the files? Why are they hiding?
That's it.
Right?
Any response to anything they say has to be, well, great. Let's have the Epstein files.
That's exactly right. You find those files yet? At the account Wu-Tang is for the children. Every time Pam Bondi was tweeting, he's like, "You find those files yet? Did you find those files yet?"
That's what we need to be doing up there. So if you hear our voices and you're online in any capacity, it doesn't matter if you have 100 people to influence or 200,000. Okay, you're still an influencer, and you still can go and push things, right? But it takes strategic posting, and that when I go and I'm trolling them on this, like especially in comments, like cat turds, I keep posting a picture I made of them running from Capitol Hill and they're being chased by the file. Like that's what matters, right? The power that they've been able to
I'm doing it too.
Yeah,
I'm doing it too. I responded to Charlie Kirk this morning. I don't know if I haven't looked. I also responded to Nick Fuentes the other day, and I'm like, I'm curious, is this whole Jew-hating thing an act or what? Because you were real instrumental in my 2016 cyber harassment, but now you're saying truthful things about Donald Trump. So if you just apologize and say this is all bullshit, maybe we can bring him down together. And of course, he didn't respond to that either. But it doesn't make me want to stop trying. It makes me want to do it more. Because when you know the truth is true, you can just keep pushing it. right?
Yeah,
And
free
you are
tip,
steeped
dude.
in it.
Whatever your opponent's weakest spot is, that's where you poke their.
Yeah, and well, the Republicans are great at that.
Truth.
Just like they were great at going after your strength. Yeah,
right.
Right.
Definitely
Right.
that, and the surge over the border.
Yes.
Was a disaster,
and there's
right?
a way, though. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong again, but there is a way of talking to conservatives to reclaim patriotism and all of the other things that they have wrongfully taken from the Democratic Party. I mean, the Democrats are the real patriots. We're the ones who are actually carrying the mantle of the American Revolution, trying to bring democracy, or, and expand the franchise of democracy to more than just, straight white rich men at the top. And I think even with trans people, it's the way that you phrase it. Like, it's none of your business. It's a message of freedom. And they've done studies where conservatives, like, for example, how do you message climate change to conservatives? You frame it as you want to protect the Purple Mountain's majesty. You do it because you're trying to make sure that the future generations, can also,
prosper.
Well, true.
So, like, if you ask me how to message to conservatives about climate, I'd tell you it's property insurance hikes, and property insurance hikes.
Always go back to money. That's all they care about.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. They did it. This was the study that I was, reading, where they were framing ads. Like it was for some marketing. How do you frame an ad for a conservative? How do you frame it? But they were, having some breakthrough with, like, appealing to their patriotism with some. Well, maybe this was definitely pre-Trump. That's for sure. And now it just seems like selfishness and greed are the only American values.
To you guys how we ended up 20 years later with doing nothing. Now we're going to go the opposite.
Yes.
We're going to fully embrace carbon, right? But, like, we did 20 years of nothing, and I explained to you the reason why. The Republican Party created a myth.
Right.
They spread it to the whole grassroots in the party. It was invented by oil and gas, and it became a fact that climate change is a hoax. In fact, they've erased it out of, Florida. They got rid of the word sea level rise out of all the state material back when Rick Scott was the governor, right? Like that. And yet, if I asked a average 20-year-old, right, why hasn't there been action on climate change? He's going to say because the parties are too corporate. No, that's not fucking why. Okay, the reason why is the Republican Party intentionally killed climate change, right? And so, like, we have to maim the villain. People are right to be mad about it.
You're right.
But they are not. No one points their rage to where it belongs. It's always something nebulous.
Is that because?
Congress, the government. No. It's the fucking Republican Party.
And that's why, like, for example,
they're always the problem.
Yes, Nancy Pelosi saying things like, Republicans take back your party. The American people need a strong Republican Party that's done so much good for America. It makes me want to puke. She's been saying that for years.
Well, she's remembering the Republican Party that applauded when she was the first woman speaker when she got But, I mean, she has to play politics in a different way, and we are almost at the end of the show. So, everybody, please pick up Rachel Bitecofer's book.
One thing, can I?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. The pit. That's what I was trying to talk about. The pit. You go to bed and wake up every day with a pit in your stomach. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. That pit is not something that regular America has right now. Okay. They don't watch any news. They don't follow any of this shit. They have no idea what's happening. They won't know unless we pay to tell them through paid advertising. Right, so the more free narrative you can build, great. But at the end of the day, these people you have to pay to put something in front of them that tells them that. You need to spread the pit. Spread the pit in your own family. Spread the pit with your own friends. I have friends that aren't political. They don't want to listen to this shit, but I make them listen anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not always easy to tell the truth.
Yeah.
But you have to.
So
you have to.
Spread the pit. I like that.
If
real.
Swing voters
That's
in
just
America
real.
had that pit, you would see it in data, right? They don't have the pit. It's either so you can either question two things: do they either not care or they don't know? And there's a lot of evidence to suggest what I'm telling you in the book, and political science is very clear on. they don't know. They aren't reacting.
know.
They don't care. They're not reacting
Right.
because they don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just wonder,
and it's
it's
a failure of the corporate media because they got addicted to the rage cycle, and Donald Trump being a moron was much more interesting than, boring economics like Joe Biden is doing killer stuff with the economy. But oh look, there's Trump over there waving his arms. And if he had only just gone away out of sheer embarrassment for his impending criminal trials, we wouldn't even be in this mess right now. Rachel, thank you so much. The generosity of your time. Please pick up your book. We're going to tag team all of the terrible people on Twitter, you and I. You and I are going to just keep being, we're going to keep being the salt in the wound. We're going to pour lemon juice on their paper cuts. We are going to keep reminding them that they have hitched their wagon to a sex trafficking pedophile rapist. That's what Republicans have done. And the sex trafficking pedophile rapist is going to take them down with him. Thank you.
And ladies, Rachel, when they go low, hit them where it hurts.
Yeah.
Yes, hit them kick them while they're down.
When they go low, we kick them.
That's right. Thank you.
I wish we had another hour with you, Rachel. Yeah, for real.
Bye, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Rose Blue, for the $5 super chat. And we'll see you all back here on Tuesday.